Hey, what's up you guys? Akromaniac here. So for this video, I kind of want to go over Storm in a sense of this is more like a wish list of sorts, but I feel like you can find a ton of videos at this point with the amount of hours that people have been able to clock in since the game's release and since the beta, and the way that things have just progressed and how they are progressing. It's pretty unanimous. Storm is a pretty bad character. Arguably the worst one in the game. Or maybe just the worst, like, DPS. And the thing is, I feel like part of her design is legitimately lackluster. That's a common critique that a lot of people have, a common criticism that they have with her kit. But at the same time, I also think that she's kind of just missing a lot of bits that other characters have. Like, for example, I think virtually every character has some semblance of a passive or something that they can sort of just do. I don't know if they want to consider hers is like her free flight movement, but she doesn't have any actual passives. She has an extremely short and minimal like ability list. I think that her lightning bolt thing that she gains from, I'll get Thor. Where is she? Where she gains this ability, like the chain lightning. I think that should just be a default ability for her altogether. And I think that itself is kind of just a problem. Like her team up benefit is basically giving her an actual needed tool that she should just have in her kit to begin with. There's a lot of like little bits about her. So this video is really just that. Like, I'm kind of just going down her list of, again, like a wish list. It's very much open for opinions and different kinds of takes or suggestions, just because I don't think that she necessarily needs to be reworked per se. I think that there just needs to be a better push in a direction of her stuff that she currently has. Like, I really don't think that it's a bad design. So, like, I guess I'll start like down the list of just basic stuff and just going down. So to start is really just like a primary. I agree. I get that whole side that it's like, it's wind. Why should she have to reload it? I do agree with that, like in the sense that it should just be infinite ammo. But whether they keep it or they change it to infinite ammo or not, I think that regardless, she should have like just a better horizontal range. So it's more like an air swipe that she's shooting out instead of it basically being a little projectile, you know, because it has so much fall off damage, you know. So it's like in ideal situations where you're trying to actually use it, it takes too much of what it's doing and the fact that you had to reload it, that I don't think that even making it infinite ammo would even improve it, you know. And I don't necessarily think that increased damage would make it better, because I'm fairly certain you're going to run into some kind of issue where if it actually does a good amount of damage, then she's just shooting right through everybody, which kind of makes sense, but then it sort of takes away from... It would take away from her actual capacity to be able to use all of her other tools, because her primary is just now too strong, because it's just going and shredding right through the entire team, and it's going to be doing like an excessive amount of damage, you know, compared to like what it's doing now. So that's why I think that it should change the projectile itself to simply just cover more space and actually have some kind of like splash effect or something, like some kind of like percussion to it when it makes contact on the opponent, you know, like some kind of pushback, so that way she still can retain sort of like this minimal damage because it is just wind, but it actually enables her to actually use it in a more viable way, like to actually create some semblance of a crowd control. So there's that. Where's the bolt? This move itself, I think, should do some semblance of more damage, or it should have no fall off whatsoever, or it should just have a shorter cooldown. I don't really get the purpose of this move necessarily, realistically. Like, I understand that it's like a blast. I just think that if it's not going to do anything significant in terms of like ability and property wise, then it should just be doing more damage and or have a shorter cooldown. But that's really just that. What I really wanted to get into is her weather control and her, what is it, her goddess boost? Is that what it's called? Yeah. So I think something that should change with her universally is this right here. So if you can see, she affects her, like her ring radius, or her field of effect. On the left side, like in the center of the screen, you see the numbers, how it's changing, how it says 1-3 right now, and then it's going to say 2-3. Now it's 3-3. So it's basically just indicating how many of each is present within her radius. How many allies is the blue, how many enemies within it is the red. The thing is, obviously it's encouraging her to be sort of like this off support, off DPS sort of hybrid character. But the problem is that the way that her kit works and the way that I think that it's trying to work, she's supposed to work better just higher up in the air. The problem with that though is now her passive, as you can see down below, look at the field of effect. If I'm even higher to get away, I'm literally affecting nobody. You know, I'm not benefiting my team, and I'm not being a threat or even like hassling the enemy team. I think that this itself should actually change for her, where you might even need to increase the radius just a little bit, just in general. But I think that no matter what height she's at, the radius should stay the same. So this way it actually makes her a legitimate threat, and it will make you actually kind of like have to focus her. Like there's an actual reason to basically get her out. And with all of these changes that I'm going to be listing, you know, it's not going to be as free as before, where it's just like, oh, you just focus her and she basically just dies in pretty much an instant, just because she has no actual escape, or she has no way to actually like get out. Or maybe that's what this should do. If it actually hits somebody, it should actually stun them for a while, like an actual like shock and stun. Because I don't believe that it does that currently. Yeah, no, it doesn't. So this way, if somebody actually jumps her, or if basically she just needs to like incapacitate somebody that's actually trying to hit scan her, if she lands the shot, she can stun them long enough that she can actually afford to get away, you know. But I think that this thing should change. Like the pillar size of this, no matter what height, it should have that same exact field of effect from all the way up here. I think it should change that way. So now when it comes to her goddess boost, I don't think that they necessarily need to tweak the numbers. I understand why they're kind of keeping it on the lower end. I mean, it could probably benefit of increasing it, like increasing the actual damage boost percentage for yourself or for your ally, or increase the percentage of the movement speed that she gains from like the wind version. But I think what really needs to change is her goddess boost activation. So it's active for what, 8 seconds, I think, right? I'll have to activate it again. I just want to mark that it's up for 8 seconds. The thing is, she actually has a significant amount of a speed boost, like with this. I mean, it's kind of there, kind of not, but you do notice it more than when she's moving like normal. Like you can even visually just see she doesn't have that much of an increase of movement. Even less with this. Like you can see how fucking sluggish she is. I think this could probably just change for her specifically. So that's what I'm saying, like not necessarily the numbers. This should be her default speed. And then activating the goddess boost should just be when she actually activates her standard wind should be this movement. Like she shouldn't have to activate the goddess boost to be moving that fast. Like that's like practically the normal speed of like half of the characters in the game. It's crazy that she has to waste something that has like a 15-second cooldown just to have the same speed as the rest of the cast. That's insane. So like I would change that in terms of like the numbers of how it benefits her. But then when she activates the goddess boost, obviously she's able to move even faster. Now it's like an actual legitimate speed boost. But I think that this speed boost property should happen no matter whether she's in her lightning or in her wind. And my proposal, and I'll go into each one, is that when she pops this and it's active, you should be able to press that input again. Like for me, the goddess boost is on circle. So you would just press circle again while it's active, and it should give her an additional third ring that she can activate. I think she should have like an actual hail, like snow blizzard ring that she can activate only specifically when it's in Goddess Boost. And what it will do is that, so you see the activation is 8 seconds. It could take, let's say, maybe 4 seconds. So you can either activate it before or towards the end of it, like whether it's 4 seconds or 5 seconds total duration. But basically, like when you activate the blizzard ring, it will take 4 seconds, and within those 4 seconds, any enemies that are actually within it will actually freeze. Like they'll actually get frozen, kind of like a Mei ult, you know, like a blizzard. So that way it actually just gives more function to actually be a part of the fight and actually coordinate with your teammates, because she's still not going to be killing everybody, you know? Or I mean, maybe she could, in a sense that you actually have your ultimate and you freeze them and then you go into ult and do something like that. But see, but that in itself, that would be so hype. Like that would be so clutch of the storm that she can do that, where she's actually just building up her ult, or she even just has her ult. She manages to pull off the Goddess Boost, you know, because she's all the way up here in the sky, let's say. You know, she's actually evading, but she pops this, she pops the blizzard, she stuns them, she freezes them while holding a point. Now she can go into ult and then just basically wipe them, kind of like guarantee it for herself. You know, like she doesn't have this capacity to actually do that as a character altogether. Like she literally just has no way to actually do this. And it doesn't really matter how you buff her, unless you kind of implement something like this, she still wouldn't be able to do that. Like in a sense of having like this big pillar be the same, you know, all the way up here, while also implementing something like the whole blizzard thing. And again, even within, if it's the blizzard, or if it's the lightning, or if it's the wind, I think when she pops Goddess Boost, that speed boost itself should just be like a key property no matter which ring you're in. Like for yourself and for your allies. But I think that the difference now is that it's like, oh, but speed already is giving you even more speed. Like what would change with that now? I think that while it has like that default increased speed, while the wind one is active with the Goddess Boost, I think it should affect everybody's attack speed, including herself. Like it should give like a literal 50% attack speed increase. This way she can actually fire shot her shit, you know, and then still make herself actually useful. You know, even if she's in the wind ring, because all that this does for her is just give her movement. Even if she pops the Goddess ult, all it's doing is just making her literally walk at a normal speed. That's all she's doing. Like it does nothing else for her, or even for her teammates. So then for the lightning one, I don't think that anything necessarily has to change with it. I think that a passive that she should have, whether it's I think it should just be any kind of lightning attack. Whether it's, like, I think this should just be a default ability, the chain. So whether it's the chain, whether it's this, or whether it's dying by one of the lightning casts like this, I think she should have a passive, I guess similar to Psylocke, where if she actually gets a final hit with a lightning based attack, it should shave down her cooldowns. I don't necessarily mind the cooldowns being that long if all these kinds of changes were to go in, because now they actually have a legitimate range of effect. They actually do something. They actually turn to fight. But then this way she's not just stuck and locked to it, and she actually gets rewarded for landing her shit and actually getting kills. Because currently, like, she has no actual legitimate passive. You know, there's nothing that actually basically just rewards her for even just doing her kit. Like, there's nothing at all for her. So there's that. And so yeah, that's why it's like I wouldn't really change the lightning ring necessarily. I think it's pretty cool, just like how it works when you pop the ult, or when you pop the Goddess Boost, how it casts down lightning already automatically. I don't necessarily think that it needs to do more damage. I mean, it probably could, but compared to everything else that would be there, that would be in play, I don't know if that would just be too strong if it did additional damage on top of that too, you know? Like on top of what it's already doing. Because it's such a good way to kind of like pick people off. And at the same time, like let's say you pop it and you're all the way up here, and there's that change where the ring stays the same radius no matter what height she's at. you're actually just going to be raining down lightning all the way from up here. That's just auto tracking them, you know. So there's that. And then with this ability too, like the chain lightning, it has a specific property to it. I forget, the charge Gale, blah blah blah.
Enemy in front of us.
I think it was online that I was reading it, like on the actual Marvel Rivals page, when it breaks down each character's abilities. I think her chain lightning, it only has like 2 or 3 bounces to it, and then that's it. I think that should change altogether. Not only should it just be part of her base kit, but it should just have literally infinite lightning bolts, so long as it's basically just not hitting the same person twice. Like if there's a whole group of people and there's different objective things that are there, like Namer Squid, or like Raccoon's resurrection shit, not Raccoon, Rocket. And then any other interactable based shit that's on the field, this should be able to target all of that. Like just anything enemy altogether, that thing should just be bouncing off of. It just shouldn't hit the same person twice. You know, it should just be just a literal chain lightning. It shouldn't have a limit to it.
They've spotted us.
And I think that everything of hers altogether, it just shouldn't have fall-off damage. The wind, I can understand. I can accept that. But like all of her lightning stuff, like this should not have fall-off damage, and neither should that. I don't think that it does currently. I'm pretty sure that I was testing this, and that's why initially I was like, oh, maybe she's not that bad, because at least this stuff doesn't have fall-off damage, but I might be wrong with that. Let's see if we can hit this.
God Tempest.
Look, it doesn't even reach. Like, it's lightning. Lightning literally strikes down on the ground. Like her lightning-based attacks should literally just have, like, infinite range, in my opinion. Look, this doesn't reach. Like, it's fucking lightning, bro. And she's Storm. It should reach the full distance. It should touch the ground.
Chain lightning.
And on top of that, it shouldn't have fall-off damage. Because she still has like all this wind-up time, and then she still has the long cooldowns, you know. Like none of that should change if they were to alter her, you know, in this fashion. This way you don't necessarily need to give her an escape, because she can kind of sort of defend herself, or at the same exact time, because she'd just be moving faster by default. Like she'd just be moving like this altogether. If she pops the actual goddess boost that would make her move faster than this, she could actually viably actually get away. And while she's retreating away, and it's actually still slowing the enemies, because this new ring, the new wind ring, during goddess boost would also have the increased attack speed, she could actually just be like firing the fuck away as she's retreating and literally just escaping. So like she's actually a threat. And then like these wind attacks would actually have like that pushback, like I mentioned at the beginning. So like it actually gives her a legitimate means where she doesn't necessarily have to have like a big dash attack or some crazy escape. It's just like her passive abilities just give her that much additional to her kit that it enables her to actually do something like that. It's kind of like almost like tankish in a way. It's kind of like an Orisa, you know, in Overwatch, like in Overwatch 1. Where like her version of retreating is just fortifying, dropping a shield, you know, firing away as she's retreating, you know. It's basically kind of like something of that nature. And at the same time too, if it has like the default increased speed, this way she can actually go into this while activating the goddess boost to still have that threat of lightning coming down while not sacrificing that speed boost that she should have because she's Storm. Like, it's... I understand having it as a default thing like this, you know, that it alters the speed boost versus a damage boost, but if she's activating goddess boost, hello, goddess, boost, goddess, boost, why is she limited to still just one little thing for each one, you know? And not even that big of a significant improvement. And that's kind of really it. I think her ultimate is like it's a definite saving grace. But I truly think that all these kinds of changes, it wouldn't break her. It would actually make her legitimately viable. And it would still put a target on her back. Because now she's actually going to be legitimately effective. But her now having a target on her back doesn't just mean an absolute death sentence. It's kind of like, are you really going to challenge a hurricane? You know, are you really gonna jump into a typhoon type of thing? Because as it currently stands, it's more of just she's just free pickings. Like she moves like a literal balloon. Like she just moves just like that. Like so slow, so sluggish, like non-threatening. You can only really have good plays like in like a quick play match with people that are just getting the game and not really aware of what's going on, or in like the really low elos. But outside of that, like she's just doing nothing. Like her and Scarlet both. But yeah, I think to just legitimately help her and actually make her really exciting and actually really give, I guess, like honor and justice to the character. Because like her current design, again, it's like even despite the whole thing, whether it's good or bad in terms of design, in terms of viability, it's kind of just lackluster, you know, because it's like you're constantly just swapping out one aesthetic for the other, and it's still just wind or lightning, and that's just it. You know, kind of like introducing a blend of the two would at least make it more exciting, and then introducing the whole blizzard effect as well, you know, and then the passive of lightning based attacks being the final hit, shaving down your cooldown, you know, like it would actually make her legitimately interactive. You know, seeing like wind go off while this is active during the goddess boost, with the storm casting down like the lightning, and then going from that into a blizzard ring, freezing the opponents, you know, or even activating the goddess boost, activating the blizzard immediately, and then from there swapping over into this lightning to have it cast down. You know, like it's like it would actually make her so fun. But that's kind of really just it. I might do more videos like this as I keep on exploring different characters. Overall, I really don't dislike the game by any means. You know, like all these critiques are just because I legitimately love Storm as a character, and it's just disappointing that this could have been and this should have been such a big debut for her just altogether, especially with the X-Men 97 and how they introduced her and how they depicted her, you know, and even in her films and in any kind of animated series, like she's always shown to have this display, at least to some degree, and I feel like in this game there's none of that display by anything that she does, unless it's her ultimate.
I see that.
And it's just like that's not good enough, you know, like not for a character like Storm, the Storm, you know. But that's kind of really just the only negative critique about the game. I think that it's very evident how much passion they put behind it. It's very clear just how much attention to detail, how much of a thought process and planning went into every single facet of the game. And I honestly, I can't wait to see what else they do with it. You know, I can't wait to see what it progresses into. Oh, I think the microtransactions are like the only other thing that I'm like, not too big a fan of, but that's just whatever. But that's really it for this video. Again, I'm very much open for discussion and suggestions, what you guys think, whether these are even like good changes or this would make her actually more exciting and more entertaining. But that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys have a good day or night, and take care.